Yep.
Good evening. It is Wednesday, September 29th, 2021, and coming to you live from the Lonely Tree Media Studios in Yakima, Washington. This is the Best Lamm Sports Show. I'm your host, David Lamm. With me is my son, Parker. Say hello, Parker.
Hello, Parker.
Yay. The studio audience is back.
They were gone last week?
Yeah, they weren't. we forgot to open the doors and let the studio audience in last week. If you remember, we didn't have music or studio audience. It was a rough start.
Yeah, we got everyone with a quick psych at the beginning of the episode.
But hey, this
thought it was coming.
Yeah, this is episode 63, so we got all the kinks worked out.
That's right.
It only took 62 to figure it out. We are live streaming on YouTube. We're on Twitter at Lamm Sports. We're on Facebook under the Best Lamm Sports Show. You can send us an email, lambsports@gmail.com. And please check out our webpage, which is, oddly enough, lambsports.com. You can find links to the past shows, and the current trivia question is on there. It is. I promise it's on there. I mean, it is right now.
You just put it on there.
It is. No, I did it on like Thursday last week. Pretty exciting, huh?
Yeah.
Okay. So the first segment of the show, as always, is brought to you by The Range in Yakima. The Range is Central Washington's premier indoor shooting destination. At 34,000 square feet, The Range is an all-inclusive facility offering firearm training, retail sales and supplies, full gunsmithing and repairs, custom builds, and Cerakote services. It's all under one roof at The Range, open Tuesday through Saturday from 10 to 7, Sunday 11 to 5. Go see our friends. 1701 Garrettson Lane in Yakima. The phone number is 509-571-1449. Make sure you mention the Best Lamm Sports Show. The Range, educate, equip, and empower. So, I figured you'd like this one.
So, it's not bad.
Is it too soon to make fun of Stevie Wonder? I mean, I don't.
No, it's too soon to make fun of the Trojans.
I don't think so. I think it's just the right amount of time. They're struggling, and that's we're going to talk about that in a minute. Timbers crushed Real Salt Lake. F1 was in Sochi, Russia. MLB playoffs are starting to take shape, almost done. They've almost got the playoffs, set, and they start next? What did we say? Tuesday? I think is when
next Tuesday.
The first games are. The AL wild card game is on Tuesday.
That's right.
Chargers get a big win on Sunday, and we're going to start with the Oregon State Beavers because for the first time in hang on, I get the wrong thing here. For the first time in 61 years, the Oregon State Beavers beat the USC Trojans at the LA Coliseum. The Beavers' 45-27 win was USC's second conference loss and second loss in a row at home after falling to Stanford on September 11th. B.J. Baylor ran for 158 yards on 23 carries, and OSU ran for 322 yards as a team. Quarterback Chance Nolan was 15 of 19 for 213 yards and 4 touchdowns. He'd have 2 interceptions that did keep USC kind of in the game. But he also had 1 punt for 53 yards, and you kind of like that out of your quarterback. Linebacker Jack Coletto had 3 carries for 8 yards, but 2 went for 1-yard touchdowns, and he intercepted a Keaton Slovis pass with 2:44 left that sealed it for Oregon State. And I wanted to show you
it's
that.
A good game.
Yeah, I wanted to show you the play here. So hold on. Let's do this. Ready?
Yep.
And Slovis facing a 4-man rush is intercepted. It's Jack Coletto. And might that be the finishing touch?
So Jack Coletto literally he's a linebacker, listed as a linebacker. He had no tackles. I don't know how much he plays normally, but he had an interception and 2 touchdown runs. So I'm guessing he gets a little extra love. I mean,
He's the Miles Jack, the modern day Miles Jack.
Yeah, but he didn't play any defense. I mean, just that one play apparently. I don't know. Maybe he played the whole time, but he didn't.
That's all you need him for.
Just that one last interception. That was Alex Faust and Alex Faust and Petros Papadakis on that call for Fox Sports 1. Slovis was 31 of 49 for 355 yards, 1 touchdown, 3 interceptions. He was also stripped of the ball near the end of the third quarter that led to a Beaver touchdown. Probably the end of the Trojans' chances at a Pac-12 championship. Am I wrong?
Yeah, it effectively kills it. They don't really have much left in the tank now. I would say that it doesn't matter what they do at this point. They've already admitted that they're in shambles for the season. It's pretty much over. Yeah.
Yeah, and their national championship aspirations were gone probably from that first loss to Stanford.
Yeah.
But
yeah, it was.
Yeah, the Beavers scored touchdowns on 6 of their first 8 possessions in this game. So now the question is there going to be a quarterback controversy in LA because they started Jackson Dart last week in place of Slovis, and he looked better and they won. And then they go back to Slovis this week, and not so much. So you think they'll just go back to Jackson Dart next week?
I think so. I think that they'll switch back and they'll use him for a while until he isn't successful, and they'll go back to Slovis, and then hopefully by then they have a coach who can start recruiting his own players.
Well, you're gonna have to do that too because brand new head coach is in the works still.
These are somebody else's players. So.
Right. It's true, and when you take over, it's hard because you can't really, in mid-season anyway, you can't instill your own offense. You know what I mean? You can't really put that in because they've already learned what they've learned. So
it's the only advantage to firing a coach mid-season. The only advantage is that they can start working recruits early. They can start talking. They can start getting their plans out with no expectations of the current season.
Yeah.
But if you wait till the end of a season, fire your coach, then he only has the offseason, the same offseason that Nick Saban and all those guys have to start talking to players.
It's true. So anyway, the Beavers will host Washington on Saturday at 6:00 p.m. It's on the Pac-12 network. And if the Huskies were any better, that might have been on a bigger channel. Somebody might have picked that game
up. The
up.
Huskies are terrible this year.
They seem to be. We'll talk about them here in a minute. The Beavers, since we're talking about the Beavers, that's going to bring us to our Stave and Stone trivia question. Are you ready?
Yes.
Okay. Here it is. It's simple. What FCS team holds the record for consecutive road losses? That's all it is.
Huh.
And how many is it? So, there you go.
Huh.
Yeah, consecutive road losses. That's all. It's pretty easy. I mean, I think it's straightforward, and there you go. You should know this.
Currently holds.
No,
like,
it's
let
the
me ask that
all-time.
question. Are they an active team?
They're
Let me rephrase that. Is it an active record? Like, are they still?
No, it's not an active streak.
Okay.
But it is within recent memory, so it isn't, like from 1920.
Can I pick the Cleveland Browns?
Well, for a while there they played like a college team. I mean, I could see where
they had 2 no-win seasons over the course of 4 years. Like, yeah, there's a strong chance they didn't win anything on the road.
That's like 16 losses on the road, right? If you play.
Yeah.
Anyway, I know. So let's talk about the Ducks. That's enough Beavers. I mean, Number 3 Oregon Ducks took on Arizona in Autzen Stadium Saturday. They came away with a 41-19 win. After Anthony Brown threw this, I'm going to show you here, this 9-yard touchdown pass to Terrence Ferguson, the Ducks took a 24-7 lead with 10 minutes left in the first half.
Another third down for the Ducks, 3rd and 7. Pressure picked up, Brown to the end zone. Touchdown! The freshman, Terrence Ferguson.
Just the pace on this ball. Look at this thing. It's just a rocket.
And it was, too. That was right towards the end zone where I was sitting. And it was...
Look like a rocket?
It lit. I didn't even see it. There was someone sitting in front of us. But when it went kind of behind them, I didn't really see the end of it, the catch part, but the ball was just a blur. Zoom. And, it was thrown hard. But that gave Oregon a 24-7 lead, about 10 minutes left in the first quarter. Or in the first half, I'm sorry. But then the offense shut down, right? So I'm not quite sure what happened, but literally go scoreless for 26 and a half minutes. That was the rest of the second quarter, all of the third quarter.
Right.
Yeah, until the fourth quarter. It allowed the Wildcats to score 12 points in a row. The defense actually did a pretty good job of limiting the damage that the offense couldn't score. The defense kind of kept them. Verone McKinley intercepted a ball at the 2-yard line that led to a safety, 2 points.
Yeah.
He probably could have knocked it away, but Arizona would have had probably a field goal chance eventually. But, you pick the ball off. You're trained to pick the ball off. So that's what he did. But it was kind of ugly. I mean, I'm going to tell you, it was kind of an ugly middle of the game. Nothing seemed to go right. Running game wasn't working. A lot of incomplete passes. Things were just not in sync. And it gave Arizona hope. So it was 24-19 at one point. And then Camden Lewis hits a 43-yard field goal. There was an 18-yard touchdown pass from Brown to Spencer Webb. And then Oregon sealed the game on this play right here. If I could get to it.
That's a good thing if you're behind in the fourth quarter. McLeod into coverage. He throws another pick. And it's Bennett Williams again. Williams breaking tackles along the sideline. Williams has a chance to go. Williams, one man to beat, and he gets there. Touchdown.
So that was Bennett Williams with his second interception of the day. This one with a very long, very athletic interception return for a touchdown. That was a fantastic play. That would kind of sealed the deal at that point. And that was the fourth interception for Arizona on the day. There was another one later at the end of the game, which really didn't matter at that point. But that was Dave Fleming and Rod Gilmore on the call from ESPN. So Ducks lead the nation in turnover margin at +12 and interceptions with 9, which it's really
big
good.
Defensive team.
It's really good. They've had 13 takeaways and 1 turnover so far, knock on wood. Anthony Brown has been very good at keeping – he hasn't fumbled. He hasn't thrown an interception yet. It's been amazing, to be honest with you, other than it's not – his stats aren't what you'd call great. 10 of 21, 206 yards. He did throw for 3 touchdowns. And he also rushed for 41 yards on 12 carries, which was a lot of carries. He didn't get a whole lot of yards. I personally thought he was running the ball too much.
Right.
Travis Dye had a couple of gigantic gashing runs, but he only had 92 yards on 5 carries. Yeah,
pretty good.
Yeah, it's a pretty good average.
That's pretty. That's really good.
Yeah, I thought they should have been running.
And I know for a fact that one of those was tackled behind the line.
Yeah, and for a Mario Cristobal team, he wants to run the football and overpower you. They just didn't seem to want to do that, like in the middle of the game, especially because Dye had those 2 big runs in the first half, and after that they almost didn't want to run the football, or maybe Arizona was just making the plays. I don't know. From watching it seemed like they were trying to pass on first down and catch them off guard, and there was a lot of incomplete first down passes, which sets up some bad situations. I don't know how it looked on TV. How did it look on TV?
It looked pretty clean. I mean, it looks. I bet in the stadium you were more nervous than you were at home. But at home, even when it got to being 19 to 21 or whatever that was, 19 to 24, something like that. Yeah, 19 to 24. I was still going, it's not that close. That didn't feel close. It never felt close. It never felt like it did. A Mario Cristobal's offense is not going to score every time. I think that's something that we all, as Duck fans, have to accept. That this is not the Chip Kelly era where 50 points is the expectation. 30 points is the expectation now. And you hope to get them over the course of the game, not all of them by the third quarter, and then coast on downhill. Mario Cristobal's offense is slow and steady, and it works. Our drives were long. Even when they didn't get anything out of them, they were long drives. We'd run 6 plays and punt the ball, but it took 3 minutes. And it's like, holy crap, they're just chewing clock. Arizona was the same way, actually. So that third quarter didn't have a lot going on. Obviously, the Ducks had a safety that happened after a minute and a half of a possession, so it was really fast. But then their next drive, or their next touchdown drive, was 5.5 minutes long.
Yeah.
So they were just marching on down the field, taking up clock. So there wasn't a lot of opportunity in the middle of the game for things to happen. for the Ducks. I mean, they got a couple of them, but whereas if you're playing teams that are a little faster, you get 2-3 possessions, and the time here you only get one. So I'm not really stressed about the performance. Could they do some different things? Sure, but I mean, Mario Cristobal has been a winner since he's been at Oregon.
Yeah.
And he's no less of a winner than Chip Kelly was. Chip Kelly did all those great things with points, and he still managed to lose a game or two a year. Right. So Mario's in that same boat, but he might have a bigger signature win under his belt than Chip ever did with the Ohio State win. So it's not as sexy to watch, but the outcome of it looks exactly like you'd expect. Stony Brook didn't look like we were just smoking them, and yet we were smoking them. Somehow at the end of the game, you're looking and go, oh, crap, they killed him.
Yeah.
When did that happen? And that's the same thing with this. You're watching this game, and you're like, oh, it's a 5-point game. Wait, they won 40-something to what? When did that happen?
So I guess the way we look at this is that this is the tortoise and the hare, and that Chip Kelly's offense was the hare. And Mario Cristobal's is more the tortoise. And they managed to win. And that's all that matters, I guess, at this point, right? If you win out, I don't think anybody keeps you out of the playoff if you're Oregon.
Right.
At this point. A couple of gigantic games coming up. But anyway, Kayvon Thibodeau played sparingly in this one and was a non-factor. 0 stats.
Which was a good call.
Yeah. I think he was in there just to test the body.
Right.
And see.
He came out limping on one of those plays, and I could see it on the broadcast, but he came out and he was limping, and I was like, oh, crap. But then he stood there, and then he came back in a few minutes later and played another play.
Yeah, and Cristobal said that he's going to be playing against Stanford without limitations.
So I like to hear.
So that would be fantastic. That is a gigantic help. Not that the defense needs that much help, but a little bit of pressure on the quarterback could take a lot of pressure off the DB.
Couldn't hurt nothing.
Yeah, right. The Oregon-Stanford game is at 12:30 on ABC on Saturday. If you want to watch, I'm just saying you don't have to, but you should because go.
Yeah, it's the plan.
The rest of the Pac-12, the only other ranked team in the Pac-12, number 24 UCLA, beat Stanford on the road, 35-24. Stanford kept it close, but the Bruins' run defense allowed just 67 yards on 22 carries. Utah beat Washington State in Salt Lake, 24-13 after being down 13-7 in the third quarter. Utah fumbled the ball 7 times in this one. By the way, they only lost 3 of them, but they fumbled it 7 times. That's going to get you beat more times than not, but it was Washington State.
Yeah, it wouldn't even be close.
Right. Washington survived their annual scare from Cal by winning 31-24 in overtime in Seattle. Cal fumbled the ball at the goal line on their overtime possession with a chance to tie the game. Yeah, and that when I say survived, they survived. That's a home game against a Cal team that's now 1-3, and you're barely winning in overtime. So I don't think Washington's as good as we think. I think. How's that go? I don't think you're as anyway. They lost. Washington is struggling. I think it's going to be a long season up in Seattle. Still dangerous team. They got a lot of weapons. Anything can happen, but. Anyway, Arizona State beat Colorado.
No one feels good about that.
No. Arizona State beat Colorado in Tempe 35-13. Colorado is still having major troubles on offense. They ran for 183 yards, but it was on 44 carries. And they managed just 67 yards passing. They're not good, by the way. In case
that seems to be the case. I've watched them a couple of times, and they just can't do anything.
They can't move the football.
They don't have an offense.
Their defense is pretty good, but the offense can't keep the defense off the field. So yeah, they get tired.
They're terrible.
And just in case you're wondering, Arizona State plays at number 20 UCLA on Saturday, 7:30 on Fox Sports 1. That should be a pretty good game. That might decide the Pac-12 South, which is pretty early in the season, but it might. So, all right, the rest of the games in the NCAA this week. Number 4 Oklahoma survived again. I know I said they were going to get upset. I was wrong. They beat West Virginia 16-13 on a last-second 30-yard field goal by Gabe Burkich. How is Oklahoma surviving? What's going on?
They're just getting lucky. Other teams are failing to capitalize on their misfortune. That's it. It has very little to do with them. A lot to do with the other teams.
I saw some I saw some statistic that said that this is the first time they'd won a game scoring less than 20 points in like 10 years. So the defense was doing something, but 16-13 against West Virginia.
Well, that just depends on how much you believe in West Virginia.
That's true. That's true. A good
If you
point.
believe West Virginia is not that great of a team, then their defense did what they were supposed to do.
That thing, you're right. Number 16 Arkansas beat number 7 Texas A&M 20-10. The Razorbacks averaged 27.3 yards per catch in this game, which is
not bad.
That's if you get a quarter of the field every time you throw a pass, woo.
How many passes they throw?
No, he only threw like 11. He only completed like 11 passes or something.
That means that they ran the ball a lot,
Yeah, they
play
did.
action their way into some deep bombs.
They did, and
but still impressive.
And what we know is A&M was overrated.
Overrated.
They struggled to beat a Colorado team that can't score, and they lost this game fairly easily and only scored 10 points. Anyway, we knew that, but the other overrateds also helped out here. NC State beat number 9 Clemson in 2 overtimes, 27-21, handing Clemson their second loss of the season. Yeah, basically ending their...
Is Clemson dead now?
For the national championship,
Not for the season. Not for the season.
Oh, like forever?
Are they no, like, is this did we see the end of a dynasty, the end of an era?
If you listen to Paul Feinbaum from ESPN, who I don't try to listen to, he says that yes.
Which no one should.
Yeah, you shouldn't.
Well,
but he said
of course
yes.
he is.
So I one thing I agree with him on probably, ever, is this. Yeah.
Well, Paul Feinbaum's listening to you. Have you seen those ears?
Yeah,
he can hear you.
He is definitely listening to everyone, everywhere.
Yeah,
those are
that's how he knows everything.
And you know what, your mom and I were making this joke the other day that those are old man ears. The old men get their ears get bigger for some reason. I don't know. You'd think they'd be able to hear better, but I don't know. Anyway,
there's an old Pixar animation. It's like a short called Jerry's Game.
Yeah.
About this old senior who plays chess with himself in the park, and he's got ears just like Paul Feinbaum.
Just huge. I know.
Just like Paul Feinbaum. By the way, one of the best animated shorts ever. Everyone should watch it.
So the back to Clemson. The Tigers managed just 214 yards of offense in this one, and DJ Uyunglele, Lele, or Lele, I don't know.
I think it's Lele. I think it's Leilei.
He was not good. He just did not look like he was capable of running that team. I mean, it just looked bad, and some of that wasn't his fault. Some of that was offensive line issues, but their team does not look like the team that was number 2 in the country when we started, or 3.
I'm gonna put this on Dabo completely because this guy's clearly an athlete. You wouldn't have recruited him if he wasn't capable, right? Like, you wouldn't have even looked at him twice. If this was some big 600-pound guy, you wouldn't have thought about him. But he's a super in shape, super athletic guy with a lot of tape on him. What are you not doing to put him in the positions to succeed?
Right.
Are you expecting Trevor Lawrence out of him?
I think so.
When you should be expecting Deshaun Watson out of him? Like, are you not changing your thing? So I'm putting all of this, issues that they're having squarely on Dabo's shoulders because I think DJ's good. I don't think he's being asked to do things that could maximize his potential, which in turn would maximize Clemson's potential.
And you would think at this point that they would tweak the offense to utilize his particular skills, right? If they haven't already tried to do that, but
I mean, it's entirely possible that they did, and it's still not working. Like
right.
that, he just isn't in rhythm with this offense at all.
And we'll know more this coming weekend because maybe they'll start another quarterback. I mean, he hasn't said that's a thing, but
that's a controversy right there.
But I mean, if your quarterback's not winning your football games and you're having trouble scoring, it's exactly what happens. That's what you change.
Right.
And go ask Washington or go ask Oklahoma. Sorry. You right?
That's right.
Not
That's
Oklahoma.
right.
Not
Go
Oklahoma.
get yourself a transfer.
Who was I talking about? God, who was just changed quarterbacks? Oh, USC. Jackson Dart, Keaton Slovis. Just keep changing them out until you find one that works.
Hell, Oregon State changed theirs earlier this season.
Yeah. There's been a lot of quarterback roulette.
Everyone's talking about Oregon State, and because we live in Oregon, we hear it a lot. Everyone's talking about Oregon State. Are they back? Are they a good team? Blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, man, 2 weeks ago, they were benching QBs for poor performance.
And losing 30-0 to Minnesota.
They've gotten up a couple weeks here, or Purdue. Wait, no. Was it Minnesota?
No, who was it?
They lost to Purdue.
Right.
But that was not that long ago.
No.
Everyone seems to be forgetting that they were just enduring trauma fairly recently. Yeah. And now they've gone on a little run here. Let's temper expectations. Let's expect a 5-win Oregon State team because they still have a lot of good teams left to play.
And this was not Reggie Bush and Matt Leinart at USC. Let's be honest.
No, this was a defunct USC football program that had no leader at its helm.
Yeah.
And a quarterback who I've always thought was pretty terrible. So,
yeah.
Whatever.
What else happened? Let's see. Number 12 Notre Dame beat number 18 Wisconsin 41-13 at Soldier Field in Chicago. Notre Dame was aided by 5 Badger turnovers. Wisconsin led.
Yeah, a lot of them late.
Wisconsin led this one 13-10 with 14-14 left in the game. And then the 96-yard kickoff return for a touchdown, a Wisconsin fumble that led to a Notre Dame touchdown, a Wisconsin interception that led to a field goal. Then the backbreakers came, a pair of pick sixes on the next 2 drives. And Notre Dame looks like world beaters.
Yeah. Mertz is the guy, right? Everyone thinks he's the guy.
And Wisconsin is not good. This is not a great football team. Their only real competition so far was this Notre Dame team and who'd they play early? Was it Iowa? No, they played somebody. They've lost both ranked teams that they played against, and it's been bad.
They're just not.
Oh, it's Penn State. Penn State beat them. Remember in Madison?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, so they've lost both those games, and I don't know. Anyway, let's take a look.
We'll learn more about Notre Dame upcoming.
We will. NCAA games this week in Week 5. Number 8 Arkansas is at number 2 Georgia, 9 a.m. on ESPN. Number 7 Cincinnati at number 9 Notre Dame, and that's going to be a big game for both teams. 11:30 on NBC. Number 12 Ole Miss at number 1 Alabama. 12:30 on CBS. Can Lane Kiffin and Matt Corral go into Tuscaloosa and beat Alabama?
No.
All right.
You have to take Alabama out of Alabama to beat Alabama.
I think
that's the way to think about that.
I think what you have to do is frustrate Alabama. If you can frustrate
Wasn't Johnny
Alabama,
Manziel the last person to go into Alabama and win?
I don't know. I don't have that off the top of my head.
I think he was the last person to go into Alabama and beat them.
Number 21 Baylor at number 19 Oklahoma State is 4 p.m. on ESPN2. And then the game I'm actually kind of looking forward to watching, that's number 22 Auburn at LSU.
It could be good.
6 p.m. on ESPN because I'm not 100% sold that Auburn's great. Auburn barely beat Georgia State this week, and the Georgia State coach was livid with the SEC officials. They kind of hosed. Anyway, you'll have to go look at it. Go investigate. But, yeah, I don't know. I don't trust that Auburn's great. They get ranked because they're in the SEC, I think. Yeah, beneficiaries of all that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're getting some trickle down from Alabama, keeping them in the rankings.
Trickle down, I like that.
Trickle down. What is it? Polonomics. I can't think of it. Rankonomics.
Rankonomics. I like it. Let's talk. Right. Let's talk about Formula One. They were in Sochi, Russia on Sunday, and it was, let's just say, an interesting race. Season points leader Max Verstappen of Red Bull started in last thanks to a grid penalty. Well, penalty for using too many engines. You're supposed to have 3. He used his 4th one, and if you do that, you have to start at the back of the field. That's the rule.
Well, he had a 5-place grid penalty anyways.
Right. That's when they decided they were going to change the engine anyway.
Right.
They needed to from the damage from the last race. So they decided, we'll take our penalty. Let's move on. And so he started at the back. And then Lewis Hamilton only qualified 4th. Which was kind of unusual. George Russell, Lando Norris, and Carlos Sainz all qualified ahead of him. And then the race started, and Lando Norris led most of this race. He looked like he was going to win, and then the rain came. The rain came lap 50 or 49 or whenever it started raining.
It started dropping on lap 47.
47. And then slowly you saw the people start pitting and putting on the intermediate tires instead of the slicks. Right. And Norris stayed out there. I don't know if he was just hoping that it wasn't going to rain hard or if he was just thinking, well, I've got a big lead once they pit, and even if I slow down, I'll be able to beat them. I'm not sure what the thought process was, but he did not pit, even though I think they were telling him to pit.
Yeah,
but he didn't.
I read the transcript conversation like every time they would talk to each other, and the crew was giving him very ambivalent information. They were like, "Hey, it's starting to rain." He's like, "Yeah, I can see." It's like, all right, maybe do you want to think about intermediates? And he's like, "This track's dry over here, but on the far side," and, and things like that. So they weren't like telling him what he needed to do. On the flip side, Mercedes and Red Bull were telling their people, like, "Hey, come in now. You need to get in here." Even Lewis Hamilton went around an extra lap, ignored him for one lap, and then came in and got him when Max pitted. Like he saw that Max was about to that he had heard that Max was about to get off, so they got off together and pitted. So it was a whole thing. It was a whole thing that Lando just wasn't getting good information from his pit, was making some decisions for himself, and he's young.
Yeah, that was David Croft and Martin Brundle for F1 TV and Sky Sports. So that was on lap 51 of 53. And then,
Tough.
Yeah, Lewis Hamilton would go on to win. It's his 100th victory in Formula One, and Max Verstappen finished second, coming from the back of the pack.
20th to second.
Which is amazing. So Hamilton...
It's pretty good, but when you consider 5 people slid off at various points, it does go, okay, well, you still passed 14 or 13 people.
Yeah. And
you didn't where you are or whatever, but
and you didn't slide off, so that was good. I mean,
right, and you didn't slide off in that time. Which, I mean, no one here thinks that Max or Lewis is ever going to slide off, right? They're pretty good drivers. We expect that they know what they're doing,
right?
But yeah, I give him a lot of credit. He did go past 13 or 14 cars, not 13 if you include what's it called? If you don't include Lando, 14 if you include Lando. So it's interesting but it was a fantastic run for him though, man. He came 20th to second is remarkable,
and it was probably the best that Red Bull could hope for. Best outcome.
Oh man, they stay in the hunt, the points hunt. Yeah.
Hamilton now leads Verstappen by 2 points in the driver's standings. The next race is Sunday, October 10th in Turkey, and those are on ESPN or ESPN2, but they're super early in the morning thanks to Europe.
There I was at 5 a.m. barely awake, watching what looks like a blurry race because of all the rain.
Record it, man. I'm telling you,
it's interesting.
Yeah, but if you're up,
I can't ignore the notifications.
If you're up already, I get it. But I mean, I'm telling everyone else, record it and watch it later because you'll like it. It's fun. It's fun to watch. It actually is really interesting to watch. This racing is different than any racing that I've ever actually gotten into before. Anyway, it's kind of cool. So let's change the subject because that's what we do. Let's talk about Major League Baseball. I had a thing here. There it is. I had a thing here. 2 races left in the National League. Atlanta at Philly today, with the Braves holding a 3-game lead in the East. The NL West is Dodgers and Giants. San Francisco leads by 2 games. Seattle Mariners fans, hold on to your hats as the M's are just a half a game back of Boston for the final wild card spot in the American League after beating Oakland 4-2 last night. Thanks in part, if I can play it. Oh, it's not even going to... See, now it's all foobar.
It is what it is.
This thing's not doing what I want it to do, and I don't like it. So, I can't get the bottom doohickey to go away here. The bar. It's not doing what I want it to do. Hold on just a second, and we'll talk about this. See if I can find it, where it's at. But anyway... Mariners.
If they get this wild card spot, Joey's going to be very upset because he trash talked a lot of Mariners fans at the A's Mariners game about how, oh, congratulations, you won a couple games because they swept the A's in that series, and he kept saying, congratulations, sitting at home in the playoffs.
Oh,
he's gonna have
gosh.
to eat all of that.
Why is this? It's really not. It's not letting me get rid of the bar at the bottom. It's kind of weird. I guess I can't show that highlight because it won't let me get to the play button.
Nice.
I mean, it happens. What are you gonna do?
Is what it is.
Here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna do it this way. You ready? I got this.
Well, I'll remind you of the final game of the series in Oakland, where the Mariners swept the A's. It was Mitch Haniger homering off of Diekman to tie the game. Haniger, does he get him again? Does he get him again? He does! It's the series of Mitch Haniger! Congratulations to him, his 100th career home run. A fantastic milestone. Outstanding. 2 outs.
That's literally the definition of swinging out of your shoes. Did you see his front leg?
Yeah,
Just
I saw it.
bent under as he made contact with the ball. His foot was under. That's crazy. But anyway, Mitch Haniger's 100th home run gave him a 4-2 lead. That was the final score. That was from Root Sports Northwest. And by the way, I couldn't figure out who those announcers were.
Yeah.
I literally even sent
The Root Sports announcers, like I say.
I literally sent a message to Root Sports asking them who those announcers were, and I got nothing. So
We got to watch the very beginning of the game.
yeah,
The
to know.
beginning of the broadcast when they bring it in. Something I always notice whenever they show people hitting home runs in slow motion, unless it's a very, very big game, if you look behind them, everyone looks bored out of their mind. Because that was not a first pitch home run. That was like a 5th or 6th pitch home run, which means these guys had watched the last batter either walk or out or, just other not exciting crap. And now they're at this point, they're just kind of like, and then he hits the ball and everyone just lights up.
Yeah,
and
then
like,
it's
oh my gosh, that's why I came.
sudden excitement. That's what
Right.
happens. It's just sudden.
So baseball isn't really exciting. It's the illusion of exciting is what I'm saying. It's that it's so boring that something that's really high, something that's 0 to 100, baseball keeps you at 10 and brings it up to 50 occasionally, and you feel like that's a treat.
Okay, I'll give it a 7.
Playoff baseball is a whole another story.
Right.
Playoff baseball is a whole other story, but regular season baseball, actually, this is kind of playoff baseball because they're playing to get in. So I'll give that, but like regular baseball does not get that exciting.
Not normally. No, I'll give
Not
you.
normally, but,
I'll give you
but
that.
playoff baseball is fun.
Yeah, playoff baseball is fun. So the Mariners are 10-2 in their last 12, and they're playing Oakland right now in Seattle. It's 0-0 bottom of the second, just to keep you guys updated. But there's a chance. So you're saying there's a chance? Yeah, we're saying there's a chance. The Red Sox beat the Orioles earlier 6-0, so the Mariners have to win to keep pace, pretty much.
Yeah.
But and the Red Sox are the beneficiary of playing a team like the Orioles who has 50 wins at this point. So
They really need the Red Sox to just drop something.
yeah, it's gonna take an Orioles victory at some point in time for the Mariners to get where they need to get. And the Blue Jays beat the Yankees. That's going to tighten things up too for the other wild card spot because the Red Sox can still catch the Yankees for first. So in theory, the Mariners and Red Sox and Blue Jays could knock the Yankees out of the playoffs, but probably won't.
Oof.
But I mean, it's still possible. Still, those 4 teams are battling for 2 spots. So it's getting exciting. And next week we'll know. Next week we'll have American League wildcard games on Tuesday, and the National League wildcard game starts on Wednesday. And depending on where it is, and I think it'll be West Coast, but it'll be probably on while we're on the air, and we'll give you an update. So
A little bit of excitement there, yep.
yeah, it's gonna be a little bit fun. That takes us to we're just a little more than halfway, but that's okay. You know what helps is if I was actually on the page that I wanted to be on.
There you go.
Boss Kitty Yarns is the sponsor of the second segment of the show. Boss Kitty Hand-Dyed Yarns. Be sure to tune in to BossKittyLive.com at 6 p.m. every Monday and Wednesday and 11 a.m. every other Sunday for knit-alongs, exclusive sales, games, fun, and making new fiber friends. That's the way they phrase it. Fiber friends.
New fiber friends.
I like it.
Wow, that is a knitting thing if I've ever heard it.
It is. Go on the BossKittyShop.com. I literally wrote go on the BossKittyShop.com. What kind of grammar is that? Go to BossKittyShop.com and get your DK and fingering weight yarns as well as stitch and progress markers. If you're looking for a gift, you can get them a Boss Kitty Shop virtual gift card. Let them pick it out themselves. That's Boss Kitty Hand-Dyed Yarns. Yarn so boss, you'll knit your pants. I
am Ron Burgundy.
At least it's not.
So it was written on the sheet.
At least it's not the teleprompter disaster.
Do you think we could? Get Mom a BFFF shirt for Christmas? Best fiber friends forever.
I like that. You know what? We need to suggest
BF
that.
cubed or whatever it is.
BF cubed. We need to suggest that because I'm thinking that if we do that, we could probably get ourselves some of those shirts. Anyway,
Probably true.
yeah, I think it's a great idea. Let's talk MLS for a minute. Portland Timbers, they're on fire. They beat Real Salt Lake 6-1 on Saturday. 6 different Timbers scored, and they turned a 2-1 game at halftime into a rout with 4 goals in the second half. Portland is currently 4th in the West. They're playing LAFC at Bank of California Stadium right now, and I apologize because I don't have that up here, but I'm about to pull up the current score of that game right now. They're playing. It is 0-0.
Well, they just
Second
started,
minute.
3 minutes ago.
Yeah,
It's
they're
not
just
much happened.
just into the game. So it's 0-0, scoreless early. But they've just been on fire. Just absolutely fantastic. And I don't know if this is – they're still being outscored for the year. They're still a -1 in goal differential. Even though –
Well, that's because they had a real cruddy start. They had a weak start because they were tying a lot of games early, and then they went bad. And now they're picking it up, and they're doing really well. They started picking it up a little while ago, but yeah, they're going to be if they win this game, obviously they could turn that around. But yeah, they started so slow and then got so poor. No one thought they'd ever be in this position.
And they've had some bad losses. They lost 4-1 to the Galaxy, 4-1 to Austin. They lost 6-2 to Seattle at home.
When it rains, it pours.
Which was probably that embarrassing moment that they realized we need to do something. Because it's been since then, pretty much, that they've just caught fire, and that was
that's when you grab a whole bunch of baseball bats and you throw them in the shower while the guys are in there. You tell them to get in the locker room.
You know what your problem is? You're lollygaggers.
That's right. I always think about how am I going to yell at somebody. And I always think maybe a couple baseball bats in the shower might do it.
It would, I mean, you should try that with Cassie. Next time you're upset at her, throw a baseball bat at her while she's in the shower.
I like being married, so I'm not ready to give that up just yet.
The Timbers have just 8 games left in the regular season, but that drags on until November. By the way, there's like they only play one a week anyway, so I mean there's that.
Yeah.
But so let's talk NFL. Are you ready?
Yep.
I don't know if you're ready. I don't feel like you're ready.
I was born ready.
I was there. So
you're not sure about that?
Okay.
Darn it! I said it to the one person who might actually know.
Who can actually corroborate the story.
one of the two people who can tell for sure. It's like I was there. That's not true.
L.A. Chargers and Justin Herbert got a gigantic win on Sunday. They beat division rival Kansas City on the road, 30-24. The game was tied 24-24 when a defensive pass interference call against Kansas City on 4th and 9 at the Kansas City 35 gave the Chargers a second chance to take the lead late in regulation, and eventually this happened.
Have you ever found yourself
that
working
commercial.
with a client
Hey,
that
it's
suddenly
Hang on,
Period
I
after
got to get
going
through
MIA.
it. It wasn't supposed to do that. I ran this
Have to
twice.
But you shouldn't score here.
Pass.
Are you
Let's
kidding?
go on the open road with a
Hey, it
safe
is what it
stay.
is.
I did this
Get a
twice.
$20
This
Best
is brought to you
Western
by
gift
Best
card
Western.
every
by the way.
night you
To the end
That's
zone,
what
and it's a
current
touchdown.
response
He beats Hughes again. Great throw, great job, but why? Yeah.
Like, unbelievable. I think it's awesome. But you just gave Patrick Mahomes now 32 seconds
With a timeout.
All you do is you hand it off there. Or
I'm not sold that what Tony Romo is saying is always true. And because the coach of the Chargers, Brandon Staley, he said that
a guy that I couldn't pick out of a lineup right now.
No, I wouldn't be able to tell you what he looks like.
Yeah.
He said he was trying to put the ball in Herbert's hands. I think more along the lines of Tristan Vizcaíno had missed 2 extra points earlier in the game for them, so I think that was kind of made that decision to go on 4th and whatever instead of trying to kick a field goal, and then trying to put it in the end zone was easy once they got the first down. But
Right.
I don't know. Would you have run the ball in that situation?
No.
Okay. Easy.
No.
Easy
I would have. Your best player on the field is Justin Herbert. It's time to acknowledge that. It's time to put the ball in his hands. When Aaron Rodgers is in the red zone,
Yeah,
you might run the ball, but what do you feel more comfortable with?
Yeah,
let him throw the ball. Let him handle that, right? When your best player on the field needs the ball, needs to be able to do their best thing. If their best thing is a bootleg where they run, so be it. Their best thing is throwing that fade like Tom Brady does so well, so be it. If not, don't give it to not that nothing wrong with Austin Eckler, but don't give it to a B-list running back and try and have him win a game for you.
Yeah. That was Jim
Keep it in
Nance.
your best player's hands.
That was Jim Nance and Tony Romo on CBS.
Yeah. And I agree with Tony though. Like that's a lot of time.
It is
to give Patrick Mahomes.
With a timeout.
And I will believe that until they consistently prove that Patrick Mahomes can't do it. And they didn't here tonight, obviously, but I still would not ever take that chance if you have it, but you need to score. So score.
Yeah, Mahomes and the Chiefs got one final shot at it, but the Hail Mary, as time expired, was incomplete and short of the end zone anyway.
Yeah.
So anyway, I like the decision to go for. I'm always kind of that, let's go for it and go win the football game kind of a thing. I realize the field goal might have done that same thing, but if you kick a field goal in that situation and take a 3-point lead, then you give them the opportunity to settle for a field goal. They only have to go down to the 40 or wherever to get an attempt off. So I think that scoring the touchdown was the right decision. Now the other team has to get in the end zone with 30 seconds. That's probably right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I agree. Yeah, it was a great game, and it finished really well. And Justin looked fantastic.
He did. 281 yards and 4 touchdowns was, no interceptions. Didn't turn the ball over. That's a good day. And if you do it against the Chiefs, So,
he played his best football against the best team.
Right? You got to save it. Can't hold anything back now. Up next for the Chargers are the Las Vegas Raiders. In another divisional battle, the Raiders were involved in another tight football game in Miami. The Dolphins scored with 2 seconds left in regulation, right?
Right.
And then they went for 2 and got it. Jacoby Brissett to Will Fuller tied the game, sent it into overtime. The teams exchanged field goals in overtime before the Raiders got it back with a chance to win, and it went something like this.
Daniel Carlson.
That's a winner!
Kind of anticlimactic in that point because they were 22-yard field goal. You shouldn't miss. Well, it's 21 according to CBS. But anyway,
they were so close.
Yeah, but Dolphins played a good game. I thought it was a good game. And again, this is a Raiders team that I don't know how good they are. They won 31-28, and that was Ian Eagle, Charles Davis for CBS. Are they just lucky? Is the question.
That is an extremely tough question because it seems that way. Through 3 games, they beat the Ravens in overtime. They beat the Dolphins in overtime. And then I felt like they handled the Steelers. I felt like that wasn't that close of a game. But, man, against the Ravens, they forced that fumble. Like, that wasn't a drop by Lamar. That wasn't a tipped pass pick. It was a forced fumble that led to a recovery. So I don't know it seems like they're just getting lucky. My instinct says that they're probably just getting lucky and that'll run out eventually. But I'm just not sold on it. Both their home games have been extremely tight wins. I mean, we could get into conspiracy territory here and say, are they trying to make it exciting for the new fans? Like, are they intentionally doing this? But no, I think that they're getting lucky, but it's extremely. Normally, you might win one overtime game a year. Maybe you lose the other one. Very rarely do you play for multiples for one. And then 2, very rarely do you win both of them. I don't know. It's just a very weird year for them. I don't know what to make of them yet. And the teams that they've played, well, obviously you've got Baltimore. Baltimore seems like a good team, but they have this one caveat with their quarterback, with the type of quarterback he is. So they're not a traditional powerhouse team. And then the Dolphins, who, I don't know, are they any good? Like, we don't know. They don't have a quarterback. They can't figure that out. And then the Steelers with ancient Big Ben and a group of receivers who aren't old enough to drink. I don't know if they're any good. Yeah. I just don't. Like, it is the most enigmatic team in the NFL because they've played what seems like good teams, some, and they're eking out wins against. I just don't know. I just don't know. It's frustrating to watch them because
right?
they were that first week. I mentioned it on air, but that first week I went through the whole fantasy drama with I needed the Ravens defense not to give up any more points. Or sorry, I needed the Raiders defense not to give up any more points. And there was an overtime, and there was a fumble, and blah blah blah. It was a whole thing. But so I'm exhausted on the Raiders already this year.
If you watch nothing else but Raiders and Ravens all year, you're tired. I mean, it's been a rough 6 games.
That game, I was working out while I was watching that game, and I was like, I hopped off the treadmill when I thought they got the touchdown, and I was like running around the upstairs area at my work, and I'm like, yeah, and then I go and get back on right when it says it's under review, and then I look at it and I go, no, and it was back and forth like that for the next 5 minutes.
Right, the swings back and forth are
stuff.
crazy. Yeah,
this game didn't have that many swings, but I thought when I stopped watching this game, they were up by 14 points. And I was like, oh, it's done. They're walking away. And the next thing you know, I'm on the phone with you, and you're saying, oh, well, it's tied 25-25 or whatever it was. And I was like, it's what?
Yeah.
And then I had to go watch the rest of the game because they let their other opponents just get right back into it. So I don't know how good they are, man. They're giving up a lot of points. I know that.
Yeah. So,
but
speaking of lucky,
speaking of lucky,
how good do you think the Baltimore Ravens are?
Well, I just said that a few minutes ago that I'm not sure.
Right.
Because they have that. They seem like a complete team, except that one piece seems like both a liability and a asset all at once. Lamar Jackson is the most confusing piece on a football team because he can help you, he can hurt you. He can't pass some days. He can pass some days. He won't run some days. He fumbles other days. He runs really well.
It's what's inside that inspires.
Yeah, it's tough. It's confusing to me. To watch them, I guess, is the right term. But so they managed to get another win on Sunday over the Detroit Lions, 19-17. It took an NFL record-breaking field goal to do it. Let me see if looked like something like this. We got one more. This is what happens when you have it on pause.
Right before the kick.
This is what happens when you have it on pause for a while. It wants to run the ads again, and I check them before we do the show, but we're on for so long that it wants to do
only from Sleep Number
thing. So
and we're working on getting licensing.
It bounces off the crossbar, and it's good! Oh my God! Oh my goodness!
Oh my! Did that just happen, Greg?
It's trash.
Did that just happen, Greg? Yeah, Greg Gumbel and Adam Archuleta for CBS calling Justin.
Greg was in disbelief.
Calling Justin Tucker's NFL record 66-yard field goal as time expired for the Ravens win. And so the controversy in all this is that the previous play should have been a delay of game call in Baltimore, as the play clock clearly went to 0 before they snapped the ball. But also, to be fair to everyone involved, Marquise Hollywood Brown dropped 2 passes from Lamar Jackson during the game that would have been touchdowns. Just flat out dropped.
Yeah.
So Baltimore probably deserved to win anyway. But they shouldn't have won based on the previous play. They would have. I don't think they'd have tried a 71-yard field goal. Well, they might have. I don't know.
Well, they should.
I don't know. They might have, because
it's frustrating.
Tucker hit that ball 65 3/4 yards, and it just hit the right part of the ball. And anyway, he might be the best kicker in football, though.
Well, I think there needs to be an asterisk. It's yeah.
Now we're having a little technical difficulty there with the cutout. Hold on a second, Parker. We'll come back to it.
There needs to be an asterisk. Okay, so I'm back. I think there might be an asterisk here because I think it was poll aided.
Poll aided.
Yeah. Well, so Matt Prater hit a 64-yard field goal,
Right.
and it was 7 feet above the crossbar.
Yeah.
So it landed, 8, 9 feet out of bounds, maybe 10 feet out of bounds.
Right.
His didn't even make it to the back of the end zone. It needed help. Does not count. Does not count in my book. It's garbage.
Feel like
Put an asterisk next to it. Call it 61. Move it along.
I feel like they gave him 3 points for it, so it's going to count. But what do I
mean,
know?
just because it's worth the same amount doesn't make it right.
You're not wrong. But still a win. Win's a win. You take it any way you can get it. If it bounces, that's fine.
It was still pretty impressive. He still kicked it like 54 yards.
That's a long ways to kick a football. It's just ridiculous.
It's a very long ways, but
Yeah.
I'm just saying, Matt Prater he
Sure.
kicked the ball the same distance
Hey, don't.
off the ground. I don't know, it just frustrates me, and that's me being protective of my former Bronco kickers record, but it was impressive.
Let's talk about the rest of the NFL. Carolina remained unbeaten with a 24-9 win at Houston. Another minor injury, quote unquote minor, for if you can't see, I'm doing air quotes, for Christian McCaffrey.
Yep.
Because all those minor injuries just freaking pile up. When your best player gets hurt every game or every year, for sure.
Christian McCaffrey's knees and ankles are the consistency of tissue paper.
Yeah, a lot like mine. The Browns defense.
That's pretty good.
And I haven't taken that many hits. The Browns defense made the Bears look really bad, and I mean really bad. And he's out for a minute. Oh, he's back. So the Bears didn't turn the ball over. You ever seen a team lose that bad and not turn the ball over? No? All right. Are you back? So the Broncos shut out the Jets 26-0 to move to 3-0. Remain in first place in the AFC West. Uh-oh. We got a little...
I'm back.
He's back. Got a little something going on there. Sorry.
Yeah,
folks.
so I realized. So here's a thing that we're about to solve this today.
Okay.
And, we have 2 internets, one upstairs and one downstairs. One's an extension, but they're both named the same thing. It's just except with the letters EXT at the end for extension.
Right.
I keep connecting to the damn wrong one. My computer keeps auto connecting to the damn wrong one, and so it's trying to connect downstairs and I'm upstairs and brr. So
I'll ask you
whole damn thing, people.
I'll ask you again. You ever seen a team lose that bad it didn't turn the ball over?
No.
No.
It's pretty darn impressive.
Yeah, they had, I want to say 7 or 8 possessions that were 3 and out. The Bears did. Nothing worked.
Not a lot to do with it. Yeah,
Nothing.
they had no scheme.
Yeah, there was zero. I mean, they couldn't even
fire Matt Nagy.
If you can't, well, then that's the call right now. I don't know if that's the right. That's like probably an overreaction from this particular game. Kind of forced to use.
I'm
Justin
sorry.
Fields.
Is it from this particular game? Is it for every game he's coached?
Well, okay.
Because they made the playoffs one time.
I'm just saying.
And this had a weak showing in it where they doinked a field goal.
I mean, this was a 1-1 team coming into this week, and then they lose, of course, and they lose bad. You're right, and it looks terrible. But it was Justin Fields' first start. He's clearly not ready to play NFL football yet. So Nick Foles, get your jersey on. Is all I'm saying. He can save them, take them to the Super Bowl probably. But,
I don't even know if he's not ready to play NFL football. I just think that he gets inserted into the game, and Matt Nagy goes, "Oh, well, do whatever what is his name? The Red Rider?
Andy
whatever
Dalton.
His name is? Andy Dalton.
Right.
Do whatever he would have done." And that's not the way this guy plays. This is a different guy. Use him to his strengths.
What's his name? Red Rocket? Is it the Red Rocket?
I think it's something. Red something.
I don't know.
Yeah, who knows?
I think Red Rider's that
dude's
BB gun,
with
right?
red hair. It is the BB gun. That's why I thought he named him that. Because you can put somebody's eye out with that thing.
So the Broncos shut out the Jets 26-0 to move to 3-0, remain in first place in the AFC West.
Goes.
Yeah. The Rams dominated the Bucks 34-24. The score doesn't look like a domination, but it was. I mean,
yeah, they handled them.
Yeah, Matt Stafford was the missing piece. Yes, at this point.
Seems absolutely like it.
Yeah, it does. I mean, it feels like
if I was putting money like, hey, is he or is he not? Those are the only two options. Say, yeah, he is.
Because they didn't change much. I mean, they haven't changed. I don't think their team has changed hardly at all from last year.
It just seems more smooth than Jared Goff. Jared Goff seemed clunky and funky and just strange. I don't know. Wasn't there.
Yeah, it's confidence is what it is. I mean, I think Matthew Stafford is from playing in Detroit, a team that was always losing for the most part, and he always play. I mean, I'll be honest, and he was playing from behind like his whole career, right?
So Matthew
So-
Stafford's seen a thing or two. So now
Well, and
this is easy.
And he doesn't have the. When you're playing with the lead, you sometimes get hesitant, right?
Sure.
But Matthew
Yeah.
Stafford's never had to worry about that, so he just throws the football.
He's like, whatever. I'm throwing it like it's
Right.
third and long. With
I'm like,
with the Lions.
Like I'm still in Detroit. I'm going to throw it just like I did there.
I'm gonna throw it like I'm still in Detroit. I like that. Well, what a shot at Detroit that comment would be.
How about those Seattle Seahawks? They looked bad. The defense
They did
against,
look bad
against
yeah.
Minnesota. They lost 30-17. Just that's 2 in a row, and they're we were praising that NFC West pretty hard, and it is it is still good.
Not bad.
Minus Seattle. They just did not look like a team that was ready to play football. And I don't know how good Minnesota is either still because they've had close game after close game, but they handled Seattle at home like it was nothing.
Well, they're plus on their margin of victory now because they were only -4
Right.
over the first 2 games.
Yeah.
And they beat this team by 13, 14 points. So, yeah, they're definitely plus now. So,
Yeah.
I think they're better than they seem. They weren't quite putting it together. I don't know how good the Seahawks are. I don't know if they're going to be able to figure themselves out long enough to be relevant because they have to do it fast because they start some conference play I think here very soon.
Yeah, it's next week. Seattle, San Francisco is next week.
Yeah, they start conference play fast. So whatever issue they got going on with their defense and this new offensive coordinator, they need to figure it out now.
Yeah. So the Packers and Aaron Rodgers kind of shocked San Francisco with a 30-28 win with a Mason Crosby 51-yard field goal as time expired. They started the final drive with 37 seconds and no timeouts. So when Tony Romo says you gave Patrick Mahomes 32 seconds and a timeout and that's too much time, he's absolutely right. Aaron Rodgers did the same, 37 seconds and no timeouts. And he moved him right into field goal range. And Devontae Adams, 2 big catches. That's all it was 2 completions to Devontae Adams, and they were in field goal range. Adams had 12 catches, 132 yards, and a touchdown for the Packers. And the Packers looked like they solved whatever crap was going on in week 1.
My favorite Aaron Rodgers quote, one of my favorite of his, he has a lot of them, when he was asked on draft night, how disappointed were you that the 49ers passed on you? And his answer was, not as disappointed as they're going to be. And this game happens, you're like, yep, I get it.
Aaron.
Yeah. They're still 0-3 to the 49ers, by the way, in the playoffs. Fun fact.
Fun fact. So week 4 in the NFL brings us this schedule that you're looking at right here, thanks to ESPN. A couple of huge games. Rams-Cardinals at 1 o'clock on Fox. Hopefully that's the game of the week, although we'll probably watch Seattle and San Francisco muck it up. I really wish you could pick which game of those you want to watch. But I know I'm going to get Seattle. So there's not much I can do about that. But the other game's going to be better. And then also Chargers-Raiders, Monday night.
That's going to be a good game.
Huge game.
I'm very excited
SoFi.
about that.
Both these games at SoFi Stadium. One on Sunday, one on Monday. That's a fantastic weekend of football, if you ask me.
I'm concerned about the turf conditions.
Yeah, hopefully it'll survive, right? There's a couple.
I always think about things like that. I'm like, hey, the game on, who's going to rake it out? Or how are they going to get the turf back? Or how are they changing the end zones? Are they actually pulling up the pieces? Who's going to seal them? That takes like 4 hours.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about all that stuff all the time.
They got a whole crew. I mean,
this is why they pay a lot of people a lot of money to handle that stuff.
This is the big time. This is the show. This is where
This is the show.
Yeah.
It's where you can have fungus on your shower shoes.
There's how many references are we gonna make?
Just the 2.
Just the 2. There's going to be a couple of sneaky good games in here for week 4, and I'm gonna say Carolina Dallas.
Yep, that looks good.
Might be a good football game to watch. Baltimore Denver.
Yes.
Yeah, that's gonna.
That is the one I'm excited to watch.
We'll know more about both teams probably.
Yeah, can't wait to watch the Broncos being now 3-1.
And then there's the return. Tom Brady at New England.
Oh.
Right,
overblown storyline that no one cares about.
Which is Sunday night. That's the late game on NBC.
Is New England booing Tom Brady?
That's a great. They shouldn't, but that's a great question. They might, but they shouldn't, because I mean, otherwise you guys have 0 titles, right?
Gave you a hand, but see, that's just it. Like that's the Boston passionate fan.
Yeah.
Are you pro Boston or are you pro Brady? I've known a lot of people who've left Boston with Brady.
Yeah.
So
Well,
I don't know.
It's if you're booing the only guy who ever brought you a title, then please, I mean, you got issues, because
I feel like that's putting a lot of disrespect on Bledsoe, because there's no telling what he could have done had he not gotten hurt.
You're right. I feel like. Do you think Drew Bledsoe would have played until he was 50? And
that's not a
for
fair
80
question, because I don't think anybody
80,000
would play till they're
yards?
50. I don't believe anybody would play as long as Tom Brady looks like he could play another 5 years.
He probably can.
Right? And I don't believe I would. In Peyton Manning's last year, you were going, should you still be playing football? Like, maybe you should chill. Like, you were really good in 2015, but 2017, you were really good in 2013, but 2015 is a little bit of a stretch.
It looked like a struggle too. Yeah, it is. It
did. Now, I don't know if that was his body catching up to him, or maybe just the team wasn't as good and he was carrying them more. I don't know what exactly was happening, but Tom Brady is still effectively and consistently leading his teams everywhere he goes. So,
all right,
he can play till he's 60.
Here's your question.
Yeah.
This weekend, you're looking at the NFL schedule. You can only watch one game for the whole weekend. Which one you watching?
Denver, Baltimore.
It's because you're in Denver. That's cheap.
I need to know who the Broncos are. I also need to know more about the Ravens. Because if this is a tight game, then that tells you it doesn't really matter who wins. Let's say it's a 1-point win one way or the other. It tells you that the Broncos are fairly good. And the Broncos are better than they seem, better than the bottom 3 teams that they have beaten.
Yeah.
But it also tells you that the Ravens may not be as good as the teams they've beaten. So it kind of just lets you know quite a bit.
I feel like this is Monday night for sure.
If I can't pick my team, I'm taking Chargers Raiders Monday night. Yep.
Vegas and the Chargers. That's going to be a good football game, I think, and we'll know more about those two teams too.
Yeah.
After that happens, but anyway, all right. So finally. Well, not finally. We got a couple things left, but in a segment that we like to call "Your Mother Thinks I Talk Too Much," Parker's got a minute or two to talk about whatever he wants to talk about. So take it away, Parker.
So, I was going to talk about LeBron James possibly playing tight end, but I've changed my mind.
Oh crap!
I've changed to something else, because every once in a while we talk about foods and things like that, and so I have concerns. So Cassie's my wife, by the way, is trying to get me on a soup kick. She's like, oh, you should eat soups. They're better for you. Oh, they're less calories. Oh, they're this and they're that. The problem is that soups do not fill me up. It needs to be like 80% like meat, potatoes, 80% density, and then like 20% whatever the fluid is, in order for a soup to effectively fill me up, which pretty much just means you have a runny whatever you have runny potatoes or whatever. It's not the same thing. I don't deal with soups the way that she does. And so last night, in the spirit of like, oh, let me try this out, I had like some sort of like potato and cheese soup thing that comes like Progresso or something like that. It was terrible. And I was so hungry afterward. It didn't do anything. I'm off the soup train. I think everyone else should be. I mean, a good stew, I could probably go for stew, but not soup. So stew, not soup.
So you need a stoop. Yeah.
I need a stew. A stoop sounds too 50-50. I'm not on board.
Oh, well, it's thicker than a soup.
I damn near need I damn near need a roast that has a little bit of fluid inside to keep it moist.
A juicy roast.
Yeah, a juicy roast is more what I need.
Is as much soup as I can handle. The melted butter that happens on the steak.
That's right.
That's enough juice.
That's too much. Yep.
Yeah.
A little bit of blood that runs out of it. Perfectly fine.
We had white chicken chili. Homemade. It's like a crock pot thing. So you just throw it all in once, and it gets thick, and it's got lots of chicken in it and beans, and I don't know that it qualifies as a soup, because it's chili, but
there's a way to get around that, and that's how do you eat it?
In a bowl on top of Fritos.
You eat it with chips.
Chips, yeah.
You put density in there. You make it thick again.
Yeah, and a little sour cream on top, but it's pretty good.
Yeah, I don't know all that, but
Uh,
let's go Frito.
but I mean, chili. It's fall, and that's what she's trying to do. Fall is the time for soup. I mean, that's what you do. So I mean, I get it.
I
I get it.
guess it's just annoying because I hate soup.
A good bowl of. So you're gonna want a good bowl of soup on Sunday night when you're watching Tom Brady play New England. You're gonna want that.
You need clam chowder.
Chowder. That's right, because it's in New England.
That's exactly my thoughts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We should get. We need to get your cousin from Boston to do that for us. So, and so, trivia question time.
Yes.
Do you remember the trivia question? Well, hold on. The Stave and Stone trivia question, brought to you, of course, by Stave and Stone Wine Estates in Hood River. The winery at the vineyard is at 3827 Fletcher Drive. They have limited indoor seating and patio dining, 12 to 6, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. The tasting room downtown is at 210 Oak Street. They're open Thursday through Sunday from 12 to 6. Call and make a reservation, right? 541-946-3750. That's 541-WINE-750. You can email them, info@stavenstone.com for more information. Stavenstone Wines with Personality. You remember the trivia question? Do you remember what it was?
Yeah, a college football team with the most consecutive road losses.
It's FCS team. So not
FCS.
Yeah, we're talking about an FCS team, not an FBS team, because I think Prairie View A&M lost like 100 games in a row at one point.
Okay.
So this is FCS. What FCS team holds a record for consecutive road losses, and how many? Got an answer?
It's called the Spiders.
That's Richmond. But that's
Richmond. I'm gonna go with them.
That's FCS. They're a championship subdivision.
Oh, you said FBS. Oh,
I mean,
sorry. I thought you just said FCS.
Yeah, they're FCS. I meant FBS. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay, that was confusing.
Division 1A.
Division 1A.
Can we just go back to that, please? I'm sorry. I don't like this thing.
That would be less confusing.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with Idaho because they came up and then got relegated.
They did too. You're absolutely right, but that's not the right answer.
Oh darn! That was
Sorry.
a good guess.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think you can say that your guess was you can't call your own guess a good guess.
Of course I can. It was a great guess. It was one you probably didn't think of.
I hadn't thought of them because the answer is the Kansas Jayhawks.
Yeah, they've been terrible for a long time.
46 consecutive road losses from 2009 to 2018. When they beat Central Michigan, by the way, in 2018. And once they did that, Oregon State became the active leader in consecutive road losses at 20.
Wow.
Oregon State would go on to beat Colorado in 2018 also, ending their streak at 22. That's a far cry from 46. But that's the Oregon State tie-in right there, is that once Kansas won, Oregon State was the current leader.
Wow. It's pretty crazy.
46 straight road losses is a lot of losing. And I like Kansas's uniforms. All those basic colors, you can do a lot with that. And I put like a whole bunch of different those red ones that they wear. Those are fantastic looking. I like
they
those.
look great. Yeah.
Yeah, but it doesn't help you play any better.
Nope.
No. So I know I make fun of them, but what are you gonna do? So that's all we have for today. We'll be back next week with more college football, NFL news, MLB, MLS, and so much more. Again, we're live streaming on YouTube every weekend. A little loud, right? We're on Twitter at Lamm Sports, on Facebook under the Best Lamm Sports Show. Email lambsports@gmail.com. I want to thank ESPN, CBS Sports, Pac-12 Network, Root Sports Northwest, F1 TV, Fox Sports 1, our sponsors, The Range in Yakima, Boss Kitty Yarns, and Stave and Stone Wine Estates in Hood River. This has been a Brain Rock production, a division of Lonely Tree Media, LLC.